This is Frank Skinner. This is
Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean, and Chloe Petts is with us this morning. Wait for applause. Doesn't come. Text the show on 81215. Follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at Frank on the Radio. Email the show via frank@absoluteradio.co.uk. Welcome, Chloe.
Thanks for having me back.
Welcome back.
I was applauding myself.
Do you know, I tell you what, when you do programmes like... and I'm sure you've done a load of these, like Steve Wright in the afternoon, they say, Frank Skinner's with us this day, and him and his mate who are in there, they both clap like that, and I clap as well, just to thicken it up a bit.
Yeah.
But I'm not actually clapping myself, it's an audio aid.
You see, I feel I was remiss there, because I think that would have fallen to me, really. You were saying it, I was listening to it, you're the guest. I didn't do it, because I think one person clapping sounds terrible.
And also, I haven't earned your applause, if we're honest. But any sort of applause, any applause under 10, yeah, it feels patronising, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So, my favourite one in an
audience. Single to third man, as they say.
Yeah. Village Green.
The one in the audience where you do a joke and then you just get one woman slapping her thigh and you think, oh, applause break going, and you go, oh no,
no,
I was presumptuous.
I've never had that kind of a response ever. No. I'm a sort of anti-applause in comedy shows.
Oh, really?
I do reprimand them sometimes. I'm not here for applause, I'm here for laughter. People get applause for blowing candles out, whereas laughter is a very difficult thing to achieve. Yeah. Unless, of course, you're on the Jubilee coverage where everyone goes at everything that's said about...
Oh, do you know, they laugh a lot, the Jubilee coverage.
Oh, we'll talk more about that later, but, oh man, the Jubilee coverage. I quite like the fact there's a Jubilee, but the coverage... Something. The Queen's coming on the balcony at 11 o'clock. Let's not start talking about it at 3 a.m.
Also,
what's it going to be like, do you think, when the Queen's on the balcony? Oh, well, it'll be so marvellous. And then the Queen's on the balcony. That bit's nice. Great to see the Queen still out there. Yeah. And then 4 hours saying, what did you think of the Queen on the balcony? We saw it with our own eyes, you fools.
Like sports coverage you're getting. And let's get an action replay of the Queen. And then you've got Jamie Carragher zooming in on her hand or something like that.
It's like that. It's like when it used to be the FA Cup and you used to get FA Cup morning news and FA Cup It's a Knockout.
Yeah.
FA Cup Garfield. Anyway, it's nice, but not too much water with the Ribena. That's my advice generally in life.
Also, can I ask a question? I will. How do they get
that was my moment. Didn't last long. I didn't even get the in-breath of the response.
It's gone. How all the glass booths set up? How many glass booths are there outside Buckingham? Well, I will get to it.
Okay.
Outside Buckingham Palace, they've all got their commentary boxes. But they've all got commentary boxes. BBC's got one, ITV's got one, GB News, I imagine, has one.
Right.
How do they all get access? Do they erect these booths, these boxes?
I suppose it's like busking. You have to get a
special licence for your glass booth.
Yeah. Maybe, there's three people doing interviews, and then there's a living statue who booked earlier.
Do you think we could sort ourselves out a glass booth and head down to the Mall now?
We could do that.
It's first come, first serve. We missed it.
I'm not doing it though.
No.
Oh, I tell you what, in slightly darker news, I was watching the result of the Amber Heard Johnny Depp thing this week. Disappointed that he wasn't there. Yeah, I call it the result.
Yes, I was going to say it's not
remember,
West
I'm fresh from Eurovision. Johnny Depp now, who looks. He looks like a bloke who might manage tribute bands. Yeah. He's got that sort of low rent. Anyway, there was a bit where they said, I noticed that the judge called Amber Heard Miss Heard, which made it sound like a murder mystery night, because she had oh man. And here's my question for anyone listening. Has anyone here ever done a murder mystery, and was it exciting? And also, is murder the only crime that they do mystery evenings for? Could you do an embezzlement mystery evening?
Okay.
Bigamy mystery evening. I think, why murder? I mean, it's so awful. There's some crimes that are, lend themselves more to a themed night out with the friends.
Yeah.
If anyone's got answers to those questions, I'm dying to hear from you. Not dying in a murder mystery way.
No.
Frank Skinner on
Absolute Radio.
Oh, this week, guess who I met this week? Here's the clue.
How do you like it? How do you like it?
Do you know?
Glenmore.
No,
Well, that
very
was
good.
gonna be my
If you
sort of-
expand that,
More. No, I've got nothing.
here we go. Michael Morpurgo, Michael Morpurgo. Morpurgo. Da, 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 da. Now, I tell you why I was excited.
What are we meant to go that?
What?
How are we meant to go to Michael? If you're,
Well, it scans. I just thought the scan would...
No, but guess who I met? Love Morpurgo, but on the list of Moors, I think Glenn's up there, a relative of
Bobby.
Roger's.
Not up there.
That would have been hard. That would have been hard, Bobby.
Not up there with Morpurgo. The reason I'm excited about it is because I've only ever seen Morpurgo from... In case you don't know who Michael Morpurgo is, he's a children's... Well, he's not a children's
The
writer.
unlikely event.
He writes books that children read, including Warhorse, which was a massive hit. Warhorse, one of the examples of why films usually aren't very good. I think, because someone from the film industry, which is where people aspire to go, but in fact must be the home of the profoundly stupid, they saw the theatre production of Warhorse, the whole excitement of which was the puppets, these amazing horse puppets, and they said, you know what if we made a film, but I'd like real horses instead of these? Oh yeah, that's a good idea. Take away the thing that's most important.
But it was exactly the same thing as Cats, where it was like...
But they didn't use real cats in the film.
No, they didn't. No, really. No, they didn't. But like they tried to sort of replicate the thing from stage on screen and then added CGI. So it was like you either go like CGI cat or human dressed as a cat. Whereas they went on this sort of weird hybrid
it's pick a lane time.
Yeah,
isn't
pick
it?
a lane.
Okay.
But the horses, it's like someone's going to the Louvre and saying it's great, the Mona Lisa. Wouldn't it be better if it was just like a real woman sitting there, though? Why bother with like a painting? We could get a real woman.
Wouldn't it be great if Pinocchio was actually a real boy?
Yeah. No. Anyway, that's nothing to do with... that's no blame on... Michael Morpurgo.
Disrespectful to this literary giant.
The reason I mention him is I don't know, I said this on air, I think. I watched him on telly years ago and thought, I don't like the look of him at all. He's quite snooty.
And did you open with that when you met him?
No, I didn't. I thought I'll give him the benefit of the doubt.
Of course he did, Chloe.
And then when I met him, he was great.
Yeah, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt for having a slightly dislikable face. God bless him.
But at the end of the interview, I actually, it was like a televised thing. The cameras went, the cheers went up at the end. I took his arm and I said, I love you. And it was from the heart. I just thought he was so fab.
Because sometimes like when you have such a bad first impression, if someone wins you round, it almost makes it even better. Because you think,
Chloe.
This is a bonus friendship.
Look,
I know, but listen, I love you. Strange love rival for Kath.
I know, but I think it was because I'd come from a dark place with Morpurgo and then gone into the bright
How did he
sunshine.
respond?
He seemed happy with that.
Were you what were you doing as you said I love you, stroking his hand?
No,
and
I was
looking
holding
into-
his forearm in I wouldn't say a vice-like grip, but firm but fair was my grip.
Can I ask a question? Does Morpurgo, is he the type to favour a Panama hat, maybe?
Well, he didn't have one on, but if he doesn't have... I'm hoping he has a wardrobe with about 15 and he goes... I'm hoping he's got Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, like bibs, like children's bibs.
Just to let you know, I'm now learning that any time Emily starts with, I've got a question for you, I am never going to be able to predict what that question is. Does Michael Morpurgo wear a Panama hat? Where the hell has that come from?
I think that's fair enough. I saw him once when he was all in purple from head to foot.
All right, you're going to have to stop now. You're getting really over the top, Michael Morpurgo.
Michael Morpurgo, this is for you.
You're simply the best.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Oh, I had a driver this week, and he said to me something along the lines of, "You're the second nicest celebrity I've ever had in my car." I thought, I'm going to leave it there.
Did you?
You didn't quiz him?
I'm not going to come back on the...
Did you
know when
not?
people say that, that's the second time it's happened to me this week, I always go, "Oh, really?" And then change the subject. I will not be led.
Well, I worried.
But he told me, he did tell me.
Did he? Well, can you say?
Is it Morpurgo? Is that?
No, it's you won't. If you
Can I
know
guess?
this
Come
woman, I will
Can we
dance
guess?
around absolute with no clothes on.
Okay, the nicest celebrity. Is it Lorraine Kelly?
No.
Well, I've heard of her. Someone that I haven't heard of who's lovely.
Oh, you're not going to guess someone you haven't heard of. Why are you even
Exactly.
rubbing your chin in that way?
Can I ask a question?
Someone that I've never heard of, Geraldine Cartwright.
Do you know what? You're so close with the initial sounds
Go
of
on.
that.
Gemma
I'm going to
Collins.
give it you.
Well, I've heard of
and
her.
also Julie Covington.
Oh, yes.
Don't cry for me, Argentina.
That you're thinking of Madonna, Frank?
No, Julie Covington had the hit before.
Great singer.
Before then.
Julie Covington.
I used to have a massive crush on Julie Covington. She was sort of androgynous, short hair, Rock Follies chick. And he said not only was she nice to him in the car, but she sent him a postcard after thanking him for his work.
So
Really?
this
I mean,
week,
I've
Frank, have
never-
you sent two? Are you trying to?
No, I've never done that. I mean, to send a follow-up postcard, that's something for all us
But it's
celebs
his
to
work.
aspire to, that level of
What, the
lovely.
driving?
Yeah.
That's really kind.
Very kind. I'm pro Covington. Not as much as I'm pro Michael Morpurgo.
Morpurgo.
You know, when you meet Morpurgo, you just want to go, "Come here. Come here." Oh,
I did-
cuddly.
I think I did meet him once briefly.
He's got a sort of bag puss feel. Oh, cuddly. Cuddly.
Sort of nestling under the Panama hat.
Yeah.
And when Morpurgo goes to sleep, what happens?
Do all the other animals come to
All
life?
of his friends go to sleep.
Okay. Again. Isn't it lovely having an evening out with your parents, Chloe?
You've heard of Bagpuss?
Yeah, I've heard of Bagpuss.
You haven't. You haven't. Stop
no,
showing off.
I have heard of that one. Julie Covington, not a clue.
No.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to keep up with the references. I've just got a Google tab open on the laptop at all times.
You
Just to
could
sort of,
Exactly.
Get your own back. Start talking about no woes.
no woes.
Yeah.
I'll talk about Stormzy.
Oh, talk about
exactly.
the weekend.
Stormzy.
The
The
Weekend.
weekend.
The Weekend.
If only
Yeah.
Stormzy had been a weatherman. That would have been great, wouldn't it? Now over to Stormzy. It's going to be lovely today, actually. Is it Stormzy? Ironic? And then a big laugh from Naga Munchetta.
But he could do that. Might make the sort of weather a bit more accessible now. I think we're a bit bored of watching the weather. But if he did it in grime style,
Yeah?
then I'd watch
Yeah.
it.
Well, I'd
What-
watch it for a
But
couple of
you
minutes,
know-
then I'd get
yeah,
fed up.
Chloe, what I like about the weather people
Yeah.
is that they really haven't moved on in time in every respect, and I love that in their aspect, in their clothes, in the way they deliver the bulletins.
I love their bants. Their bants with the presenters. Really low red bants. I mean, bants that are barely... If you wrote the word bants, you'd have to put it in inverted commas.
It's the sort of bants that you only know is funny because of how hard they're both laughing at it. And you go, that was a joke.
I love that. But I think that's okay, because when we talk about the weather, for example, on this show, we do, we don't know what we're talking about, and we just do it and say, oh, it's been a bit cold today. And I think if we're treating weather like that, the weather people can treat comedy like that. I think that's fair. So that sorted that out. Another thing solved here on the Frank Skinner show. The Frank Skinner show. Just lost it for a second.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Can I ask you both something? What do you think of this? This has caught my eye this
It's
morning.
going to be a bit
third
left
time.
field, I have a feeling.
Okay, wait and see. What do you think of this? Manchester airport passengers climb through baggage carousel curtain. I mean, I'm in already. To find luggage as armed cops step in. Frank Skinner, views.
Well, it's not a thing I'd ever do, certainly. I think the baggage carousel, I always imagine you might meet a drug dog coming out the other way. Imagine, it would be startling. You'd have your Adam's apple out before it had really thought it through.
We know what breed it would be, don't we?
What are the drug dogs, generally? You're a dog
They're
correspondent.
not normally called the drug dogs, just
Aren't they?
FYI. No,
Okay.
they're called sniffer dogs.
Oh, well, same thing.
I'm going to say Alsatian.
Lovely. Chloe.
Thank you.
I like you.
I've absolutely smashed that one, if I'm honest. I think this lady is incredibly brave that's gone through, because I think... how long did it take for her to make that decision? Because I think you're at the end of your tether, because there are a couple of places in life where you do not go. One of them, baggage carousel. I would never like to go behind the bowling pins.
Oh, no.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but
No.
I'd read that novel.
I've seen...
Oh, yeah.
I've seen people moving about down there, though, behind the bowling pin.
Have you?
Yeah, I think there's a small hut down there that one of the lesser paid workers lives in behind those.
I think it's like...
Remember, you get that thing that's a ball that's just rolling at the side of the pins, just rolling. Do you ever get stuck? It just keeps rolling in some terrible trap.
I like the idea of someone having to reassemble. That's their job.
No. I'm on about when something goes wrong.
But I feel like the bowling thing is like where we're at the seams of reality, and like it's behind it is like the Truman Show, and they're pulling all the strings. And when one of those balls just consistently rolls, it's like they all go into panic mode of like,
doesn't even bear thinking about.
Skinner's going to see that we're not living in the real world. Kind of, this isn't reality.
Do you imagine the panic? There's an alarm, and they say we've got a rogue one.
Yeah.
A stern alarm. Yeah.
I should tell you both.
I hate that. And you press the reset and you've missed a turn and everything's out of sync in there.
I tell you what I don't
Stupid
like.
bowling
The silly nicknames people give themselves on that computer screen. Just call yourself your name.
Yeah.
Have you seen that one?
I used to call myself I get bored after that.
There was a number of holiday makers
Okay.
who I believe, saying here they were fed up. And they're clambering through.
I
They call
wouldn't
it
do
the
that.
curtain. I think curtain is being generous. It's 6 strips of leather.
It's one of those industrial... when I worked in factories, all the doors were like that, just strips of plastic hanging down. So you could push a sack truck through it with stuff on, and that without having to open the door. So it's like that, I think. There's a technical name probably for it.
And I wonder the extent to which the armed police got involved. Like how relevant is the armed bit? Like I can't imagine them getting a gun out. I can just imagine.
No,
Don't go.
I mean, if they'd have shot 2 or 3 of them down, just fire into the curtains.
Wow.
Oh man, that would have been terrible. No, I would have been frightened that if you step off there, you step into machinery.
I'll tell you what you would have done, Frank. Knowing you as I do, I think you would have got up on that carousel and you would have done what I like to call a Cliff Richard at Wimbledon.
I would have.
You would have done a bit.
But you know
would have
what?
entertained
I'd have been walking backwards. I'd have been standing in the same place. So I'd have to slowly walk backwards. Can we all just calm down, guys? I know it's been a difficult day, and I'd be like sort of moonwalking as I
lovely.
spoke. Oh, that'd be a moment for them all to treasure.
Yeah.
Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
May I share something from one of our readers with you? Harry in Brooklyn.
Wow.
He's one of my regulars, actually. Hi, team. Frank is incorrect.
No,
Let's
I
leave it
won't
there.
hear it. I won't
Okay.
hear it.
Go on, what is it this time? I've got my finger on the correctione button.
Frank is incorrect when he says he has never threatened to call the police. Do you remember when you said that?
I did, yes. I was talking about that last week.
Mm-hmm.
We were talking about, I can't remember what the context was. Someone had called, a man had called the police because he was overcharged for an espresso.
An Italian gentleman.
Yeah.
On a 2015 episode of the show, this very show, Frank and Emily recount their date, really?
Okay.
To see the James Bond film. Spectre.
Yeah.
When ordering popcorn, Frank asked the attendant... Sorry, I've remembered this.
I don't remember it. This is the great thing about getting old, is that your things you've done become fresh new jokes I've never heard before.
Frank asked the attendant... Oh, this was mortifying. Frank asked the attendant, is that small or medium, regarding the sizing of the popcorn order. Frank then said, because if that's a medium, I'm calling the police.
No, but a threat to call the police.
You did say that.
Okay.
And it was awful.
No, but that's... it's not that dissimilar, is it? Being overcharged for an espresso, come to think of it. I did empathise with that guy, and now I see why.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't actually call them. They're very busy, obviously.
That's from Harry Kidd.
In Brooklyn.
Yeah.
My question is, has he got sort of an encyclopedic knowledge of the back catalogue of Absolute Radio?
Well, it's all available. I mean, if you tuned into this show today and you liked it, you could literally go back 13 years and listen to every episode.
Which you absolutely should. I'd recommend it. But I do think Harry here is accusing you of being a narc, but I think the only narc here is him.
Yeah, you're right.
Oh.
She stepped up.
Lovely.
Sorry, I'm defriending my darling little Frank. That's my little Frankie.
It's very sweet of you. Are you having a Morpurgo moment?
I love you.
I'll tell you why I did this. Here's a question.
She had to get a tissue out.
Yes, Emily's wiping right. I'd like to ask a technical question. I did a bit of cycling this week, and I'm a bad cycler.
Oh, Frank only learnt to... embarrassing mother.
Yeah.
Frank only learnt to ride a bike recently.
Oh, that's lovely. Well done.
But what I learned, I was at some fancy hipster hotel when I learned, and it was one of those bikes with no gears and a lovely upholstered saddle.
Oh.
So this week, I got on like what you might call an ordinary bike. The saddle?
Yeah.
Why do they have to be like that?
They are vile.
Why,
Did
though?
you get your lycras on? Because
No.
I think you should get yourself a padded short.
Honestly, I felt like I was being open like a clam. It was...
Thank you for that.
It was. Why would you make anything that uncomfortable? Is it part of this macho thing now from bike riding? You have to be in pain or it doesn't count.
They like it being uncomfortable.
Ridiculous.
This is why I'm afraid. I love the concept of cycling. I love it. I can't ride a bike really either.
Right.
And that saddle, I'm out.
Exactly.
It's vile.
I mean, there's a basic error there. And people who ride bikes now are so butch, they will not say, oh, that's a bit uncomfortable. So they all have to stick with it. Well, I'm speaking up from the gentle people. It's very uncomfortable. Upholstery was invented many years ago. I want the equivalent of a lovely leather Chesterfield on the top.
Of course you do.
Outrageous.
This is Frank Skinner. This is
Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean, and Chloe Petts is with us this morning. You can text the show on 81215, follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at Frank on the Radio. Email the show via frank@absoluteradio.co.uk.
We've been talking about cycling and how Frank's not really... You're not much of a cyclist, are you?
No, but
I'm not.
Now I've tried a normal cycling saddle, I don't know if I'll ever cycle again.
I'm interested, Chloe. Are you a cyclist? You strike me as someone who'd know your way around a bicycle.
Well, thank you. I do take that as a compliment, actually. Look, I could jump
Bit thin on the ground, are they, generally? Compliments?
In this studio.
Look, I'll take anything at this point.
Okay.
I could ride a bike, but I'm not sort of... I do think it's a quite specifically middle-aged man thing of you get yourself your little hobby of you get all your lycras.
Awkward.
You get yourself a good bike and then you leave it in the garage never to use it again. But I think they purposefully put the uncomfy seat on the bike because then they can charge a premium to get yourself a comfy one. You know.
Oh, so but you can upgrade to a comfortable seat.
Yeah, you haven't just sort of made your bed and now you have to lie in it. Like, you don't have to have that same.
I wouldn't mind that if it hadn't been a bed of nails. It's horrible.
Also, I had to send back, I won't mention it, because why should I? They've given me nothing. But a particular kind of exercise bike. You're familiar with these bikes that you have at
there's
home.
a few pretend ones now. If
Yeah,
you
I like
notice
the
that.
pretend called Smell-a-ton.
Yeah, but basically a person on a bike with like a laptop gaffer tape to the handlebars saying, oh, you can get these ones. These are a bit cheaper.
The market.
I like that you said, I won't mention who they are.
And
but
then I've done a rhyme.
Yeah, you've done a rhyme, and sort of even before the rhyme, I think we were all sort of.
But I've tantalised them, but not given, and I like to do that.
I think it's all right mentioning if it includes you sending it back.
Yeah. Well, it didn't. Well, I said to them, excuse me. I did. I'd like to say excuse me.
Yeah.
I said, excuse me, but I'm a small person, and this isn't designed for people of my height.
Don't tell me you couldn't reach the pedals.
Okay, well then I won't continue the story.
Oh, okay.
I couldn't reach the pedals.
You could have worn a pair of like 1970s Elton John platforms, surely.
Do you know, I nearly considered putting platforms on. I couldn't reach, and they're built in the shoes, as you know. You can't take your feet out.
Oh, can't you?
You put your feet, they're built in.
Your Platty shoes.
Yeah.
So I couldn't live with it because I was too short. And I said, well, can't you adjust the seating? They said, yeah, we've had a few ladies saying that.
Really?
And then that was it.
And that was it.
Yeah.
So, you know.
I don't have one of those,
No.
I would say.
813 has got in touch with us. Hey up, you three.
Is it Freddie Truman?
I don't think I said that right. Sorry.
Go on.
Hey up.
Hey up.
Yeah. Now, let's hear your hey up, Chloe.
Is that me?
How would you say hey up?
Oh, sorry. I say. I think I put on a Yorkshire accent.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
you
Hey
have
up.
to. I think you
okay.
have to.
Am I allowed? Okay. Hey up, you three. Now that you've experienced the agony of a regular bicycle saddle, Frank, and I'm assuming you were attired in some kind of under and outerwear.
That's a bold assumption to make.
Well,
you don't know what Frank likes to do with his weekend.
No, I just had a pyjama jacket on.
Pyjama jacket, no trousers.
Yeah.
He's Winnie the Pooh'd it there, hasn't he?
Favours, well, it's what he favours the top cat approach. That's what he calls it. You must.
I saved money. I save on bicycle clips,
Oh God.
especially in the cold weather.
All
Carry on.
right, all right. You must now understand why that chap howled weirdos when you encountered the mob of naked riders on a London bridge. That's from Andy Wood.
Yeah, do you know Andy Wood?
Thanks for the tip. Bronte Country, West
He's
Yorkshire.
from Oh, yes, of course, the Bronte country. Man.
Yeah.
Yes, I saw the naked bike ride going over Waterloo Bridge, Chloe, and a man. It was a lovely sight. There was people of all shapes, sizes, ages, everything else, all naked. I don't know what the aim was. I don't know if there's a protest but it just looked free.
Yeah.
And a man standing with a wife and 3 kids said, weirdos. And I thought this is the decision one has to make in life, whether you're with that bloke or whether you're with the people on the bikes. But as you say, now you mention the saddles, I'm starting to see why he might have been appalled at the very image of it. Yes, don't cycle. That's the slogan of the show.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Chloe, what's happening?
Well, thank you for your very specific question. No, I think, but I really like being a comedian because it's essentially like I've always wanted the life of a retiree, and I think I've sort of got a bit of that because in the daytimes I can just potter and go to the cinema in the day, and then you just have to go off and do your work in the evening. But so the other day I went to the cinema to see Bob's Burgers. I don't know if you.
Oh no, I don't know that.
Or it's just sort of a nice cartoon.
Or is it?
A cartoon?
Yeah, cartoon.
You went to the cinema to see a cartoon?
Yeah.
All right.
Sorry.
Did you go on your own?
Well, I went on my own. I love it. I love going to cinema on my own. I think it's absolutely wonderful.
It's what's good is that I'm not worrying what the other person's thinking of the film.
No.
That's always nice.
And I also like to I really like having popcorn at the cinema, but I do feel sort of quite conscious of the morality and the sort of, you know, etiquette around eating your popcorn. What I tend to do is I'll grab myself a medium, I'll threaten to call the police, out of Frank Skinner, and then I like to huff it all down during the adverts so that I'm not worried about making sort of any crispy, crunchy noise.
I have a
during the
rule.
film.
I have a rule that I can't start the popcorn until the film starts.
But what if, like, you're going to see like A Quiet Place Part 2 and there's not a sound and it's just you going...
No, but what cinema most people are on the phone nowadays when you get to the cinema.
Well, this is the thing. So I was going to see Bob's Burgers, which obviously sort of probably...
What is it about?
It's about a man called Bobby.
It's about a fast food outlet.
Well, that's what I'm imagining, but a cartoon fast food outlet.
So it's sort of like an animated sitcom.
Okay,
where he owns this burger restaurant. He's got a wife called Linda. He's got 3 very funny kids that always get themselves into hijinks. That sort of thing. So I think it's probably, we've made much of the fact that I'm sort of maybe the younger voice on the radio today. But I felt middle-aged. I felt middle-aged for the first time because in Bob's Burgers there were 3 girls sat 3 rows back and they were conducting a full conversation at sort of room temperature, I would say the conversation was. And I didn't know what to do. What would you have done in that situation? Would you have stepped in or would you have just sort of bit your tongue and...
Well, there was a time when I would have turned and complained. I mean, 3 girls sitting behind me, I'd have probably quoted from the earlier scenes in Macbeth and see if they got the reference. But nowadays, I find I'd just be doing it all the time. I think cinema, I just accept now that people are going to... Also, I get to quite a lot of like kids' films and stuff where everyone talks.
I think
and
that's
superhero ones, I do... I mean, when I watch films, I do quite a lot of, oh, man, and stuff like that, which I think is... fine as part of my paying me money.
That sort of adds to the live aspects of the cinema. Like, I love that. One of the best times I've been to the cinema was I saw the last Harry Potter film in Belgium and everyone was clapping and cheering and getting up, whooping, waving. That was great. But I have to say to these girls, I did turn around and say, can you please be quiet? And I just felt sort of like a...
That's good. How did they take it?
Do they like it?
Yeah, they really responded well. Yeah, they gave me a little round of applause.
What did they say? Did you assume... You see, the thing is, I think everyone... Sometimes you need to unleash your inner Lady Bracknell.
Yeah.
I mean, I do it, as you know.
But if this story had been based at Chloe going to Verdi's Requiem, fair enough. But at Bob's Burgers, I think you have to allow for a certain amount of...
Shut up, I'm trying to appreciate this art.
They must have thought, we got told off at Bob's Burgers.
Yeah, well,
wow,
this is the
that's
thing.
strict. That's strict, isn't it?
So I'm a middle-aged lady now. Just call me Karen.
But it worked. They stayed quiet.
They stayed quiet.
Oh.
And I regretted it. I felt bad because I'd gone in too hard.
No, but come on. I remember Frankie Ball talked to me about the confidence of the tall man. It obviously works for the tall woman as well. That's what you want. I mean, you were sitting down even. Or did you stand to tell them?
Oh, no, I want... Let's keep at the Montaigne to hooks because I have another question to ask, which is what your opener is when you're rebuking.
Okay, it's going to be Chloe Rage Cliffhanger.
Frank Skinner on
Absolute Radio.
Now, we're in a cinema. Bob's Burgers is on. There's 3 girls sitting behind Chloe Pets. They're chatting. She's told them off.
Yeah. And before, Chloe, I don't want to... I'm going to share this with you so you can compare anecdotes. Briefly, 583, very similar situation. This week, my brother confronted a group of chatty lads. Alan Carter on night out at the cinema... by demanding his 25 quid back for his tickets or for them to shut up. Shocked lads took latter option. I like the Sun journalist way. Shocked lads, took latter option and he received a round of applause from other irritated cinema goers. That's Phil from Essex.
That's lovely, that.
So that's stuff of dreams.
The round of
isn't it?
applause is good because then there's a bit of solidarity. If it goes off, you're hoping that they might back you up.
And so we're over to Chloe. My question, if I may put it to you, was, what's your opener? Because mine is very antiquated. I'll hold my hands up in any situation. Was, excuse me.
Really nice, yeah. You did
Okay.
it. You did it with a smellaton earlier. Excuse me. You've grabbed their attention. You've been polite, but you've showed them that you're being assertive. I like that. I tend to go with the. I think I'm a bit annoying with it because it's that I sort of go in with the like the sort of open hands, call to reason kind of thing of like, I'm being the reasonable one here. You can't argue with what I'm about to say.
Do you get a bit more? You're getting a bit more London. Yeah, a bit more London.
Oh, Frank, I get the geezer out. The
Yeah,
geezer comes out.
the geezer's out.
Geezer Pets is out. I'll turn around and go, girls, come on now. Come on now. We're all just trying to enjoy Bob's Burgers. Please, will you be quiet? And then if they ignore me after that, that's when I get a bit, hang on a minute now.
That's when you get,
That's when I get really South
A bit Ray
London.
Winston.
Yeah, a little bit Ray. A little bit Ray, yeah.
I like that. Well,
man.
I've noticed what I do, if there's a group of youths, which is frankly anyone now,
Yeah.
I'll invoke the guys clause. Because it makes me sound very young and trendy.
Down with the kids.
And it's a similar thing also. Hey guys, really sorry guys.
Yeah. Guys.
Frank, what's your opener for that? When you're
I did
demonstrating?
it at an Adam Buxton used to do this thing at the BFI, the British Film Institute, where he would do videos. He'd show videos, recent videos.
Oh, Bug, yeah.
Yeah, Bug, it was called. It was a brilliant night, and I did it, and he was featuring this work of this particular director. And this guy behind was really talking during this video. I said, mate, you know what, it's a BFI, and you're going to talk through the videos. Anyway, when he introduced the director, it was the bloke I'd told off. So that was... I thought, well, you know what? I'm not going to apologise to this bloke. He was talking. He's obviously saying, yeah, I did. Because it happened to me. I went and see Dr. No. And what was his name? The guy who designed the early Bond films. Ken.
Ooh, I don't think-
Ken Adam, is he? And he was saying, yes, well, of course, in this bit we had to... And I was going to tell... And I thought, hold on a minute. This bloke's talking... This must be Ken Adam. And sure enough, it was. So, once bitten...
Maybe the girls behind me were like, the animators of Bob's Burgers, and they were just giving me a free director's commentary.
Maybe that,
Bless them.
They were probably, they were recording a video extra and you interrupted them.
Shut up, geez.
That'd be great, wouldn't it? If they had a video, the director's commentary, and in the middle of the director's commentary, you go, excuse me, I am trying to watch the film, please.
Frank Skinner.
Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
We've just heard from... He is one of our regulars, but I think you'll enjoy this. This is from Andy Wood, Bronte Country. Again, it's a cinema-related thing. I know. But he says, me and my girlfriend went to the 110-year-old Keighley cinema to see the Laurel and Hardy biopic with Steve Coogan and John C. Reilly. There was only one other couple in the whole theatre, an elderly duo. That might have been us, Frank. There was a leak and rain was sputtering in from the ceiling. And rather than move to one of the other 96 vacant seats, the old chap opened an umbrella and sat beneath it for the entire duration of the film. Two sources of comedy for the price of one.
I mean, that they obviously Laurel and Hardy fans that they've done that, haven't they?
But they carry the umbrella around.
No, I bet they always sit in that seat and get the umbrella out.
And did you hear him saying,
Do you think they do it for every film? Like they've gone to see 12 Years a Slave and they've gone, do you know what would be funny here? Pop the umbrella out.
Let's hope they don't do appropriate props for each film.
Gosh,
you don't want the manacles coming out.
Oh gosh.
no.
I went to Laurel and Hardy. It was they called it an all-nighter. It ended about 8:30. But it was 7 hours of Laurel and Hardy films. And it was hosted by the Sons of the Desert, the Laurel and Hardy Appreciation Society. And They... Well, I mean, I know a lot of the dialogue. I've seen those films many, many, many times, and I love it. But these guys couldn't resist saying the dialogue about a second before Stan and Ollie said it. So there was this weird sort of reverse echo. And people were saying to them, can you not do that, please? And they'd say, I'm really sorry. Fresh fish, just before Ollie said it. And two guys had to go out. They just couldn't stop themselves saying what the dialogue was in the film.
Really?
I mean, it was...
That's interesting.
It was in
'cause
deep.
Usually it's like a point of ownership thing when people are sort of going, I know this so well that I can say all of the words, but for them it just seemed like a sort of involuntary... Oh.
Yeah, they couldn't help it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Bless
man.
them.
No, I'm going to do loads of clips from Laurel and Hardy dialogue. I'm not. I heard a great quote from, I believe, from the Queen Mother this week, who's supposed to have said, ironically, to someone, what's it like? It must be hard work being a royal family person. And she said, well, it's fine. We never get tired and we love looking at hospitals. That was her. Such a great...
I thought you were going to tell us that she'd come up with the phrase Platty Joobs.
No, I don't think she... I think she had Platty Joobs, but she didn't use... She didn't use the phrase.
Sake.
Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
Guess what, Chloe?
Go on.
We've had Marisa has got in touch, separated at birth. Hashtag she's given it. Oh, I didn't know they were still a thing. Hashtag separated at birth. At Brandon Flowers. At Frank on the Radio. The Killers.
You've got to be happy with that, Frank.
Lead singer of the Killers. What
That
do
is
you
a
think?
handsome man.
I went to see them last
How
night.
can that possibly happen?
I went to see them last night. I didn't notice it. I'm not going to lie.
No, it's never come up before, I must say.
No.
It must
I
be
see
one
it.
photograph. You see it?
No, I see it. Yeah. I really see
I
it.
do see it in this photograph.
And I think you've got a similar sort of frame and mannerisms as well. I think it's probably the whole package.
Frame.
Thanks. We put up a photo last week on the show of me. I accidentally wore my look, which I've never worn before in my whole life. And Emily and Sarah Barron, who was on last week, both said, oh, man, that's your look. So we put a photo out. So I thought I'll look, see if people agree.
Oh, well, how was it?
It was all about, what's wrong with the shape of his head? Wow, he's got a massive forehead. Look at his forehead. That's weird. It was all just that one after the next.
Yeah.
Just saying. So I won't be doing that again.
In a world where you can be unkind, go for it.
Exactly.
That's that motto.
Exactly. So, or any other social media pics we put up, I'm wearing an Absolute Radio bandana.
Well, just go at it. Go at it with
I
your
want to
head.
say, Chloe, he found his look.
Yeah.
You know, it happens
Yes,
to us all at
it's
different
the-
stages
it's
in
the-
our life.
It's the Mekon from Dan Dare. That's my look.
And may I say, will you be getting it out for this Platty Joobs weekend?
What,
And
my forehead?
Get your forehead out for the Queen.
Yeah, I'm actually one of the official beacons. They just shine a spotlight on my forehead and I light up most of North London.
Well, I've said Platty Joobs a few times across the show now, and I would like to know what you guys think of the phrase Platty Joobs, as well as the listeners. I've done a bit of... I kind of see myself as a bit of a thinking man, Susie Dent.
Okay.
So I have done the etymology.
I thought Susie Dent was the thinking man, Susie
No,
Dent.
she's classy, but I'm classier.
Okay, fair
Right?
enough.
So I've done a bit of an etymology of Platty Joobs,
okay.
if you'd like to hear the history of it.
You betcha.
I'm all ears.
So the first reference that I can find to it on the internet is early May. It's Kiel Smith-Bino, the actor in Ghosts, Staff Lets Flats, references Platty Joobs. Okay.
Okay, well, we're on to the break.
This
we'll
is
get
like
into it.
Johnson's dictionary when you get the first times it's been
Early
used.
May. Also, she's so specific, Chloe. Early May. I
Early
love
May.
it.
Yeah.
I've done the research. My first encounter with the phrase Platty Joobs online was 4 days ago. It's someone on Twitter called Experimenting with Emotional Heft, and her tweet was, just saw someone referring to the Jubilee as the Platty Joobs, and it has sent me over the edge. Okay. Now, I think that the foundations of Platty Joob are even before this. Personally, I think you can see their foundation in Latty Flow, Panny D.
Oh, Fetty what?
So I think Fetty Wap. Yeah. No, but I think what we've done as a nation is everything is so inexplicably awful that we've just tried to dress it up with a cute name. So I think we could sort of be looking down the neck of an apocalypse and we'd be going, how are you going to spend the nookie winter?
Yeah. Yeah. And
Have you got your Prizzos henty coming up?
You think there might be an Aki P?
Yeah. There we go.
Okay, well, that's a fabulous start. I hope we can top it. I learnt a new word from reading about Platty Joobs, a phrase I didn't know was around and which I've already used in a text.
What is
since discovering it. I'll tell you after this.
Frank Skinner on
Absolute Radio.
Anyway, this is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Chloe Petts. You can text the show on 81215. Follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at Frank on the Radio. Email the show via frank@absoluteradio.co.uk. Oh, a bit of a saliva build up there, guys.
Yeah, people aren't going to like that.
No,
I don't think.
Sorry. Anyway, I was reading about Platty Joobs, this new phrase that had taken over the nation. And it listed other well-known phrases that have appeared in recent times. And you'll mock me, I'd never heard of wine o'clock as a phrase. It's wine o'clock. So
May I congratulate you on your very fortunate existence?
Well, I like it.
Oh, you don't?
I do, and I thought, I don't drink. That's a bit hard on your alcoholics. What am I going to say? It's crisps o'clock or something. And then a very good friend of mine sent me a picture of her drinking. We bought her a bottle of wine for her birthday. And she'd sent...
Strange gift.
Well, and flowers.
Okay.
And she sent a picture of her drinking the wine. And I said back, is it wine o'clock? And I just thought, I've used it in context. It's mine. It belongs to me. I think it's great, wine o'clock.
Are you ready to move on? And it's a big are you?
Go on.
Are you ready to move on to rosé o'clock?
Oh, I heard about that.
The ladies like that.
You see, wine o'clock, what I like about it sounds like 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
But rosé o'clock doesn't sound like any time I'm
But that's
aware
what
of.
they've done, you see. They've taken it on, and it's not... No, rosé o'clock's a big thing.
Oh, is it? No.
Yeah, I just love anything that's a bit basic that sort of comes into common parlance where it's just like Huns culture, you know, the ladies, the gals out on the town.
Can you explain to Frank what Huns culture is?
Huns culture.
It's not Attila.
Okay.
Huns culture is like, you know, it doesn't happen in London so much, but you know, if you're sort of out after a gig in, say, Manchester or Leeds, for example, and it's the lovely ladies that have dressed up in their high heels, they haven't got a jacket on, they've got sort of a boob tube dress on, and they're just going around and they're just the Huns.
Would be in the Birmingham context, it would be Broad Street after about 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah, bringing.
Did it start with You OK, Hun? I think I did, which was an online phenomenon.
Okay.
If someone sent there was a slightly attention-seeking post or something, saying, thinking about Pete tonight and all the great times we had or whatever.
Yeah.
Or maybe what they might more likely say is, if you can't handle me at my best, etc.
Etc.
Then someone will post, You OK, Hun?
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Whereas I think we should sort of be we're reclaiming the Hun culture. I think it's absolutely lovely. My favourite thing is when something starts off ironically like wine o'clock, and then you say it so much that it becomes common parlance.
Did it start ironically then, do you think?
No, I think it started unironically by one of the Huns, and then we picked it up using it ironically, and now...
Yeah?
Frank, you'll be using it unironically.
I'm going to think of any other ones that like rhyme with numbers.
Okay.
If someone's dying, is it heaven o'clock? For example. Optimistic, I know, but there you go.
Stay away from certain times of the day. I worry about something.
Look, if we're going to talk about Platty Joobs, can I start with something...
The Royal Hollybots?
With something... Yeah, something I watched on the telly this week with my partner, at the end of which he said, well, that is the weirdest thing I have ever seen. And what it was EastEnders, which we haven't watched for a long time.
Yes.
But This week, they announced there would be a special, I think it was Rocky. I'm not familiar with the new characters, but Rocky says, I've got surprise guests. Oh, no, it wasn't him. It was...
Was it Danny Dyer?
Danny Dyer. What's he called? Harvey Moon or something?
Called
Mick. He says we've got special guests coming and they're all guessing which West Ham player it's going to be.
He says, I can't say who it is, but...
It was a very big build-up. Yeah, I wish it would have been great if they hadn't put it in the papers who it was going to be.
Well, I still don't know who it is, so give me the
You still
surprise.
don't know.
He said-
Cliffhanger. Cliffhanger opportunity. Cliffy Han.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
On EastEnd, I hadn't watched EastEnders, honestly,
Exactly.
for such a long time. And there's people in it, like Sonia and stuff, still in it, that was heartening that I recognised some people. And they did a clever thing. Sonia was watching the telly, and they'd done a green screen thing, so she was watching the coverage from earlier that day. So they had the planes spelling out the 70 and stuff. Very clever. And then there was a bit I thought might have died out. What I call EastEnders lying. Because people I find we've all been cheated on in relationships and stuff like that. And people are actually brilliant at lying, generally. There was a bit where Rocky really wanted Sonia to turn up to this talent contest, and she hadn't turned up. And he said, I think it was Kathy Beale, the last time I watched, was dead. I didn't ask. No. And he said, I really wish she were here. That'd be great. If only she was here. Said that about 8 times. And then she said, I'm just popping out for 5. Would you look after I'm just popping out. And I thought, people lie better than that, don't they? She might as well said, I'm going to go and ask her to come over now. But anyway, that all happened. And then the special guests turned up, and it was Charles and Camilla.
Stop it. I thought this was going to be an absolute anticlimax, but that's cracking.
But
on
yes.
Albert Square.
Yes, but this is what they did, and this is what worried me. And this was why it's the weirdest thing my partner had ever seen. is I don't know for sure if Charles and Camilla knew these people were actors playing parts.
100%. Having seen it myself,
Yes.
and similarly, Frank, I haven't seen it since Dr. Leg,
Yeah.
which is some time ago.
No, I remember.
Who
Dr.
was?
Leg.
He played, he was lovely, Dr. Leg, played by the late Leonard Fenton.
Well remembered.
And, well, I
Friend
know
of your
this-
parents?
Yes.
Of course.
He was a Beckett actor, and my mother's friend, stage manager friend, who, let's call him a gentleman of the theatre, glasses on a lanyard.
Yeah.
He said to
I
Leonard...
thought that was just code word for gay. I wasn't.
No, just very much a sort of
Yeah, a
theatrical,
lovey, a darling. Yeah.
Glasses
Although,
on a lanyard, I know. Right. Anyway.
He did say to Leonard Fenton, he said, I'm afraid I haven't had the pleasure of your leg, dear, he said
brilliant.
afterwards, the first time he met him. But yeah, I haven't been near EastEnders since then, and it's quite a revelation, Frank.
It was.
So what did they do, Camilla and Charles?
Well, what they did, they were either hoaxed into believing that these characters were real people.
Yes.
So they went around and spoke to them, and it's this is my, how long have you been on this stall? And he said, I've had this one belong to my father and to my grandfather. He said, that's a marvellous thing about London, is people inherit these businesses. And I thought the problem with this is what you say to real people. And you have the same level of sincerity that when you talk to people that you actually meet. Yeah. And if you have the ability to put on mock sincerity like this, best keep that under your hat, really, because everyone who speaks to you now will think, well, yeah, but you spoke to an actor pretending to be a character.
What about
like
there was one character? It was too confusing. I totally agree. It was too confusing. There was one man who said, yes, I actually did the Prince's Trust.
Yes,
and
so did he?
Yeah.
Or did the character do the Prince's Trust?
And Charles went, did you really? How fascinating. And how was it for you?
Yeah.
Did he? I don't. Where are we now?
It's not a worry that I have. Like, I think if I ever met Prince Charles, I wouldn't be thinking that he was genuinely interested in what Chloe Petts had to say.
No, but You put yourself down, I think.
Frank did meet him, didn't you?
Yeah.
Do you remember Frank?
I'm worried that the royals have been scammed by the BBC into thinking that they were real people, because I think if we tell them it's acting, they won't be able to pull it off. They've gone away thinking they've just done a normal visit.
They've done a good job.
It was incredible. It was like, it was one of my worst things is people interviewing Miss Piggy as if she's a real creature.
Yes.
It was like that.
I can't bear it when people enter into the conceit.
Yeah, Michael Parkinson interviewing Miss Piggy. That's what it was like. Is that how we want to celebrate 70 glorious years? Not Frank.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
This is still Frank Skinner with Emily Dean and Chloe Petts. We were talking about Platty Joobs, which is this week's big event, obviously. My quote of the week, when people get given an honour in the honours list, and they say things like, oh, it's amazing and all that. Like I saw a Bonnie Tyler interviewed near to a beacon, and she was saying, I'm just so pleased, like that. Don't say, is she Indian? No, but Bonnie Tyler and Justin Hayward from Moody Blues won it, late review. And great, but Stephen Howe, who I didn't know, is a classical pianist. Are you familiar with his work?
Absolutely not.
His quote was, the award implied acknowledgement that classical music is something of continuing relevance and importance in British cultural life.
Oh, come on, mate. Lighten up.
Yeah, join in, Stephen.
You okay, hun?
Diving a bit.
You know what, Steve? I'm going to go Steve, if that's all right with you. I don't much care whether it is. But what I would say is it's Platty Joobs. Get into the Platty Joobs vibe.
Yeah, exactly.
It's 1 o'clock.
My son actually started dropping hints as to why I wasn't in the list with the likes of Justin Hayward.
What did he say?
He said, how come you never... I said, I don't know. He said, and then he said to me a quote which has often been asked. He said, do you qualify as entertainment? It's a big question.
Commissioning editor for Channel 4.
Exactly.
I liked it when sometimes this, Buzz says things like, what was it he said when I was interviewing Reece Stevenson? And I said, I'll mention. He said, but will he have heard of you? I don't think he'll have heard of you.
No, exactly. It's good to get your feet on the ground, though.
Yeah.
So it's been...
We're not 10 feet underground.
It's been a week, I think it's fair to say. It's actually only been 2 days. It seemed like a week. Macron, I like this, that President Macron bought the Queen a horse.
Yeah.
Or as they call it in France, of course, a ready meal. And
God.
no, he bought her a big horse from the Republican Guard. Now, I'd be suspicious if somebody buys a 96-year-old woman a horse from the, and I quote, Republican Guard. What are they up to?
It's not so
Also-
much a gift as a hint.
It is, isn't it?
Sort of-
Also, if I owned a kingdom and I got bought a horse, I'd wonder what they'd want in return.
Yeah, exactly. You know what? We all know what the deal is.
Yeah.
Can I as well, you heard that the horse is called, I don't know what it's called in French, but the English translation is it's called Fabulous.
Oh, is it?
I do know what it's called in French. Okay.
Go
Is
on.
it Fabuloso?
Fabuleux.
Oh, lovely.
I'm not done. Fabuleux de Moco.
So, Fabulous of Maucourt. Yeah?
Yeah.
Fabulous of Maucourt.
That's what I will be known as from now on.
But I just think it's like part of this we were saying as well about like the trooping of the guard, is that what they call it? And it's meant to be the sort of this quite big manly display of, prestige, but it's just the campest thing I've ever seen in my whole entire life. A little horse trotting around called Fabulous, doing his little bit of dressage.
Fabulous.
It's a gelding as well.
What's a gelding?
You know a gelding.
No.
It means that it's been it's had things removed. Let's call it the gift that doesn't keep giving.
Like, you don't look in the mouth.
This is Frank Skinner. This is
Absolute Radio.
So this horse, Fabuleux.
Oh, yeah. A second horse in 3 weeks. Do you know that? The president of Azerbaijan also bought her a horse.
They're like buses, aren't they?
Not that much.
Well, they are.
Four legs and stuff.
But if you're the Queen, I mean, I'm sorry, I'm going to be bold here. I think it's a terrible, actually quite thoughtless gift. And I like Macron for all sorts of reasons. But
How are you with the president of Azerbaijan?
I'm not as familiar with his work.
No.
But I just feel I believe there were 250 horses, and that was just on the Trooping of the Colour the other day. One thing she doesn't need is horses.
No, you'd think so. But also at 96, I'm thinking maybe a horse is an appropriate gift.
Also, 7 years old, guys.
I really hope they left the receipt in the bag when they gave her the horse.
In the nose bag.
What would you get the Queen though? Like, what do you get the lady
Something
that's got
new.
everything?
Maybe something that's not 7 years old.
Like
maybe
an
something
iPad.
new.
Yeah, get a. Often it's like an elaborate ornament, made from a walrus tusk from the 18th century.
Yeah,
or
but
something like that.
she's probably got tons of those as well.
She's got tons of everything.
Do you know what I get her? I'd get her some new sunglasses, just because I love the Queen.
Yeah.
But I'm just not sure those. She's been really faithful to those shades,
Hmm.
and she's committed to them, and I love her for that. She's a traditionalist, but I'm just not quite sure they're quite right for her.
Well, I presented some Duke of Edinburgh awards, if you remember, with Princess Anne, and she got a pair of shades on that looked like you could safely weld in them. I mean, they were fab. She should get some of those, like Cyclops from the X-Men.
But maybe we could get the new Top Gun films out, get her some aviators. She looked lovely.
Yeah, mirrored aviators. That'd be a great shot, though. Her looking at the two horses, Azerbaijan in the left lens, France in the
I feel
right.
the need for speed. One thing I would say about a horse is that
Yes.
it's not a gift. It's admin you're giving someone. It requires a lot of admin.
But she's not doing the personal admin, is it? She won't notice if she's got 250. Just slip Fabuloso in the back and
Craig Revel Hall.
But, it is a gift horse, and there are certain conditions. Listen, I've been looking to what's happening in the parade. Now, have I been misled? The big grand celebrity parade, that people are going to travel in buses which represent
what?
which represent the period they are most associated with. So Noddy Holder is in the 70s bus. Gary Lineker's in the 80s
That's
bus.
cruel. Gary's a perennial.
If I find out David Baddiel is on the 90s bus, there's going to be trouble. The 50s bus, I think it's a smart car, the 50s.
But who's going to be in the 2010s then?
Imagine how insulting if you got the call. You lied about your age a bit. Now you're on the 70s bus.
But honestly, if there's one thing I love, it's having my heyday nailed down.
So hang on.
Set in stone. No comebacks for you guys. Here's your decade.
Next up on the parade, it's the now irrelevant Frank Skinner from the 90s.
Hey. There he is.
You have to drive behind the
I haven't even got on. I will do it after this. But what about this? The National Treasures Choir.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
So yes, there's going to be a National Treasures Choir tomorrow.
Can we please return to the slightly tricky subject of the decades buses?
Oh yeah, the heyday.
Because celebrities included got Kwan.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't know why that was so funny.
What would he be? 2010s?
2000s, I'd imagine.
2000s. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, isn't it terrible? Now, this is what we're going to be saying about these
I
people.
hope he's wearing glasses with 2000, so they form 2000. 2 at one and 0 at the other. No, but you're really saying that was it for you?
You're saying it finished?
Yeah.
I mean, Cliff Richard Was he 1940?
Well, good.
Oh, blimmin' heck.
He's-
Surely not.
He's 60s, 70s. I mean, he'll be jumping from boss to boss, I hope.
Oh, I hope there's someone doing that, like in Footloose. I hope there's someone doing that.
I'll tell you what I've been doing a lot this week, which has given me great pleasure, as well as great stress and anxiety. There's been a lot of... And we were going over to Karen at Buckingham Palace, and there's a person standing just looking at the camera waiting for the queue, and they just look... And they just look and they don't. And I'm going, say something. I'll give you any money. Please say something. And they're just looking at the camera. Please say something. And then eventually, the stress of it. It's not that difficult, is it? Thumbs up from the cameraman.
Yeah.
Are you doing? Are you either of you doing any kind of Platty Jube thing?
I'm afraid not. I just...
No bunting in the pet's household?
No bunting. Well, the first time I saw bunting was during the... When was the Jubilee in the early 2000s? Yeah.
Don't ask
I don't know,
tricky.
dear. I remember 1977.
2012 was that was the Queen when she went down the Thames on a barge.
I mean, you're describing that in a...
No, she did. She went. I was living on the Thames at the time.
Oh.
I've got a shot of my partner
you sorted your
breastfeeding
life
our
out
baby
now.
with the Queen in the background. Not a composition you get that often. Okay, she was on a barge. She was still there.
Yeah.
I had a letter from a friend saying, congratulations on your baby. I've sent you a flotilla. I hope it's the right size. And down it went. It was great. But I don't think I'm going to anything at all. No street party in our road either.
It's just one of them where, like, I feel like it gets a bit like a festival where you just think, am I going to be able to get a drink? Am I going to be able to go to the toilet? And it just all becomes a bit sort of of a faff. Do you know what I mean?
It's going to be busy. And then, it's Bryan Adams after all that.
Oh, got this
Yeah.
Well, Bryan Adams, but I'm not interested in that Bryan, because there's only one Bryan I want to see involved.
Is it Mayo? Yeah. Will he be on
Do you know
roof?
about this? Can you
Who's
explain?
Brian Mayo?
No, Brian May. Mayo's his nickname in the dressing room.
I mean, it's
Right.
not really. Frank's just decided that.
Yeah, remember Brian May was on the roof of Buckingham Palace once playing electric guitar as part of a celebration.
Oh, I thought you meant as like a Fathers for Justice kind of thing.
No,
Get Brian down.
lead,
do you know what
lead
he likes?
guitarist for Justice.
He's more Badgers for Justice.
He is, yes, he's very...
Is that why he's got one on his head?
He's very... I
dare
can't
you.
believe ageism at its very worst.
Is that the line that's just been crossed?
And what would Our Lady Anita say about that?
You've gone too far.
Paul.
He's the love of my life. That's what she'd say.
Did she?
Mm.
Oh.
I know someone who met them and she said that. He's the
Really?
love of my life.
Do you know they found each other?
That's great. They really do seem like a genuinely happy couple.
Yeah.
And
Got to.
it's just so nice that we're getting towards the end of the show and you've had the first conversation, which I found completely inaccessible. Absolutely.
What, Brian May?
Yeah, I know who Brian May is, but who's Anita?
Anita
The wife. Oh, Ma May.
Oh, Mum. Anita Dobson.
Yeah.
In Our End is Our Beginning or something like that, because EastEnders. She
Yeah,
played Angie
exactly.
Watts.
She
there
was.
you go.
She was. Yeah.
Fantastic. Okay.
And thanks for listening to us today. Episode 2 of my poetry podcast will be out on Wednesday. It features Leontia Flynn, who's a fabulous
Fabulous de mots courts.
Catch up on all previous... I'm reading this, can you tell? Catch up on all previous episodes now from wherever you get your podcast. Chloe, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
I feel like the two children in the back seat of the car. I should be reaching back saying, will you two? I'm telling you two now.
We've had a bit too much Haribo. We've gone
Exactly.
hyper.
Honestly, do I have to stop the car? Anyway, if the good Lord spares us and the creeks don't rise, we'll be back again this time next week. Now, get out.
This is Frank Skinner. This is
Absolute Radio.